Well, I'm not in agony.
Oh, well, I live every day in agony.
Well, I mean, I do too, generally.
Whoa, it's me. Just there was back when I was a kid, and we
Back when I was a young warthog.
no, when I was a kid, we would watch Hee Haw on I forget whether it was Saturday or Sunday nights, and there were these two that they would introduce this bit and they would play these banjos and the guy would go, "Whoa, is agony on me?" And then when you said I'm not in agony, that's kind of what I thought of. Just saying.
Agony's my middle name, fool.
I guess, fool. Hayden, your face okay?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It
I
looked
was
like it.
trying to fish something out of my teeth.
Oh, it looked like it was in agony for a minute.
He's going to do the Biggie Smalls where one of his eyes is this way and one of his eyes is this way. Like,
I can do
he's going to try and watch the...
Oh, gosh.
I can do that too.
I can too. I taught y'all both.
Yeah, he's going to try and do the podcast and watch F1 simultaneously.
Yeah, we'll see how that works out. But hey, speaking about like when you're younger and kids and remembering stuff, you guys know what a time capsule is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think there's one supposed to be opened like this year or next year or something like that Nickelodeon did. That'll be fun. I think it's like a 40-year time capsule.
40 years?
Oh, you mean the SpongeBob company?
What is it?
The SpongeBob company.
Oh, is it?
That's all they do anymore.
I was going to say, I read about that the other day. They're supposed to open it. I can't remember if it was like 30, 40 years or whatever. It couldn't be SpongeBob. SpongeBob came out in like 95 or something.
Oh, no, they did other stuff. I'm just saying, though, like all they do now is SpongeBob. That's their only like profitable thing.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
If it's SpongeBob, it could be a 30-year time capsule.
Yeah. Okay, but here's the thing. Like, in theory, they're pretty cool, right? You toss a bunch of random stuff in a box, you bury it, and then you hope somebody digs it up in like 50 years or so and like looks inside and goes like, what are all these cassette tapes and fidget spinners, right?
Theoretically.
Yeah, theoretically. But
cassette tapes and fidget spinners. This was a long time capsule.
Yeah, they filled this box over many, many years, right? Because you're right. Those two things did not happen together. But we need some intro music before we can get on with this. Y'all ready?
We have intro music?
Every week.
Get ready for unfiltered banter, laughs, and a barrel of fun. This is Monkeys Unfiltered.
All right, so welcome to this episode of Monkeys Unfiltered. I just am going to dive right in. I was reading this article the other day about these school kids somewhere in Iceland or stupidly, ridiculously cold, some country like that. And they were out in this park digging up a time capsule that had been placed there like 50 years ago. So it kind of gave me an idea. And I thought it would be fun if we did like an instant or digital kind of time capsule. We get to skip like the digging, the dirt, and all the decades of waiting because ain't nobody got time for that, right? So for the listeners, what I did was I made a list, a brilliant list, if I do say so myself. And each of us took that list and did some research based on the year in which we were born, which means you guys are going to have to fess up to the year you were born in, which is probably not a big deal for you guys and really not a big deal for me either.
Although it's becoming a big deal because you watch like baseball or whatever and you're like, yeah, and he's 19 years old. I'm like, what the hell?
Right.
I'm about 19... to die.
Right. Well, you just think about what you were doing at 19.
Right. Absolutely nothing important.
People who were born in 2006 are legally adults this year.
Shut your mouth.
Shut your face. Shut your face. Stop, because you're making me feel really old. We all got the same list and we've done some research and we came prepared. That was hard for me to say.
We also came compared.
We came prepared to compare.
There you go.
And see just how much things have changed or not changed based on the years in which we were born. Each of us have also had an opportunity to bring like some fun facts from our year. So I'm prepared to share some cringy fashion trends and that sort of stuff with you guys. Maybe some technology that was once really cool and now looks like it came out of a caveman's toolbox. Who knows?
Right.
Anyhow, I hope you guys have utilized your search engines wisely. No shovels needed for this project, but I am excited to dig into what we found out.
Ha ha ha
Ha ha ha ha! I made it funny there. Did you see that?
I did.
Look at the race
No.
cars going round and round in Hayden's eyes.
They're not even on yet.
Let's start with the most important thing. Mom, you
What?
start. How much was a gallon of gas when you were born?
Okay, so a couple of fun things about a gallon of gas. First of all, I was born, I'm not ashamed to say, in the year 1968. My birthday is in April, so I got to exist in the world the better part of the year. And in 1968, a gallon of gas was 34 cents, which makes me
Take that.
right, which makes me relatively just want to puke because, you know, up until recently, it was $3.34 a gallon currently. But what I found really interesting was there was no choice between leaded or unleaded gas. You know, that was a thing for a while when I was a kid. All there was leaded gas in 1968. In 1975, you were given the option to choose between leaded or unleaded. I don't know why you would do that, but I know they started manufacturing cars that would only run unleaded gas, but unleaded gas did not take over until 1986. And I just found that really interesting that at 34 cents a gallon, you're just take this really leaded gas and go pollute the world and have a nice day.
Well, they didn't know or cared.
It's the thing about science is it's ever evolving.
Science.
So in 91, which is the year I was born, it was a little more than double yours, Mom.
Mm-hmm.
At the beginning of the year was 77 cents a gallon in January, but then it dropped to 64 cents by December of that same year.
I'd take that all day, every day.
I know, right? I'd even take $1.
Right. How about you, Hayden?
So,
Hayden was born in Prince's party year.
yeah, I was born in 99. Just barely, but I was born in 99.
Party like it's
So,
1999.
Even though I'm a 90s kid, I'm not really a 90s kid.
No, yeah, you don't get to claim that.
I was about saying real 90s kids would tell me to piss off.
Me.
But
I think your brother
Right.
just did.
Me.
so at the beginning of the year, gas was actually 53 cents a gallon, and at the end it had rose to about 85 cents. But what I
Really?
wrote down was just a 69 average.
Which is still crazy. Within 10 years, like, it
Right.
essentially didn't change at all. That's wild.
So think about this. Basically 30 years between Mom's birthday and a little under 30 since my birth year.
Right.
The difference in how much gas has rose in price.
Well, it's
Mhm.
32 years because I was
Right.
32 when you were born.
I'm just saying about 30 and not quite 30.
Oh, yeah, I got you. Right. All it did was double.
Yeah.
It was nearly 33 years for me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, Grandma, go sit down.
Yeah,
I don't know which
get
kid
you to
is
bed.
which.
Don't worry about it. Yeah. So it's important to note that these prices are all pulled from Florida's history, right?
Right,
Just
right.
Florida.
So right.
Yeah, because every state had varying prices as they do today.
Right. Just, yeah, based on the state. And I thought it would just be more pertinent if we kept it to the state that we all are
Well, and
mostly.
all of us live there majority of our lives,
Right.
right?
So, y'all ready for this one?
I've only lived here.
You've only lived here?
Yeah.
Well, okay.
That's still a majority of your life, you fool.
Right. I mean, I'm just like moving on, right? So you really want to blow some folks' minds? Minimum wage in 1968? Anybody want to guess?
$2.80.
I was going to say $1.90.
$1.60.
Dang.
Unbelievable.
Well, I remember when I got my very first job when I was like 14, 15 years old, before they had child labor laws.
When you can get in the coal mines.
Yeah, it was $2.75.
So to compare that in 91, it was $4.25.
Like what?
99 was $5.15.
That's it?
That's not too crazy of an increase. Like, again, almost 10 years, almost no increase. But from Mom's time to my time, big jump.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I don't feel like that's a big enough of a jump just between you guys. I mean, because inflation happens every year.
Right. So can we put into perspective that the minimum wage generally is still $7.25
Is that it?
now? Yeah.
Federally, right?
Yeah.
Federal, yeah, because in Florida,
Yeah.
I think it's like $12 or $13.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's another thing that varies by state, I guess. But yeah, the federal minimum $7.25. Like, who lives on $7.25 an hour?
Literally zero people.
I mean, to be fair though, the minimum wage jobs aren't meant to live off of.
Well, then how come minimum wage is not a living wage? I don't know.
Well, minimum wage is only really designed for people just entering the workforce. It's like for a human being, like, to have any value in actually contributing to your workplace, here's what you have to value them at. Right?
Yeah.
Of course you can go higher than that. But like anything less than $7.25 according to them is just not, it's like slave labor.
It's slavery.
Yeah. It's indentured servitude.
Exactly. So, but here's the other thing that was on the list that this blew my mind. The average cost of an adult movie ticket in 1968, $1.31. So you have to work a whole hour to be able to go to the movies.
Well, that's actually, if you compare what you make now versus what you spend, you start to realize like you're spending like a whole day's wage to, I don't know, pay for your car or something. I don't know.
Right. True. I mean, I worked 2.5 days just to pay the government before
Right. Isn't that
before
ridiculous?
I start getting paid.
It's unbelievable. So in 91, average cost of a movie ticket in the United States was $4.21.
99.
It's like $20 now or something.
Right.
Yeah, about 99. It was an even $5.
Nice.
$5.
Again, so we're seeing between 91 and the end of, like, into the aughts, like there's almost no change.
I'm sorry. I got to think back. Who was president in the 90s? Oh, the Bushes. Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so Bush left office in 91. Technically speaking, he didn't actually leave till January of 92 when Clinton took office. Clinton, funny enough, since George H.W. Bush, Clinton is the only president to have a balanced budget.
Absolutely. And gas didn't go up, or movie tickets, or, I mean, the stuff I care about.
So during the 2012 Republican primary, was like Mitt Romney, Newt Gingrich. There was a debate that happened, Mom, you remember, at the University of North Florida. We were both at school. And I was in the overflow room. So they were in the, oh my gosh, what was that building? Like the performing arts building, fine arts building, whatever.
Yeah, they were in the theater. Yeah, I don't remember what the name of it is.
Well, the theater was the overflow room, and they had the actual debate on the projector screen.
Mm-hmm.
There was like a CNN bus parked in the green. It was a whole production, right?
Yeah, I remember.
This was when, like, Occupy was getting really big.
Yes.
But anyway, so they were on stage, and I'll never forget, Newt Gingrich used the fact that he was the Speaker of the House during the only balanced budget in, like, the Republic, essentially, to say that he was qualified to be president. But in the same breath, almost, he said we should build a moon base, and everybody laughed him off stage.
But what does being Speaker of the House have to do with a balanced budget? I mean, you don't do it by yourself. So
the House Ways and Means Committee, like, oversees the budget, for one, and for two, the Speaker of the House, like, has control over what bills get introduced to the floor and whatever. I'm sure it was something, but it's funny. I say that to say he was laughed off stage for the moon base thing. Like, look at us now. Like, he was way ahead of his time, actually.
But I'm going to say, can you tell me one good reason why a moon base isn't a good idea?
Right.
Well, who are we protecting against? That's my, like, what do we need a forward operating base on the moon for?
You've played Call of Duty Zombies, right?
I have, actually. That's a good point. That would be a fun way to parlay into who was president during our time. Mom, you want to start with that?
Who was president? Oh, sure. So this is 1968 was a very interesting time, I think, in American politics. So
yeah, there was a murder.
It suffices to say, we started off with a bang. 1968, Richard Nixon is elected president. But here's what is very interesting about that, right? He defeats Humphreys, who only wins the Democratic nomination because the incumbent Johnson declined to re-seek, or to seek re-election, which I just found incredibly parallel to kind of what our country is going through now, because, this is not a political, like, I'm not saying whether I'm for Trump or whether I'm for Harris or any of that kind of thing, but it was a very public thing that happened with the current administration, and about whether Biden was the appropriate person to go up for the Democratic nomination. And everybody went up in arms about, oh, that's unprecedented. You just don't do that. It's always the incumbent. Well, but clearly you can decline to seek re-election because it happened. But the other thing I also found interesting is Lyndon saying, look, I don't want to seek the re-election. And Humphreys saying, sure, great, I'll do it. He beat out Nelson Rockefeller and Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
Which, Reagan goes on to become president. And then Rockefeller sticks out for me because you guys have both been to my house. You know how when you come over the bridge to hit Beachside and there's that park with that big old house right there on the corner. It's kind of like a museum now. They do events and stuff there. So that is Nelson Rockefeller's vacation home from like the 60s. It's now a historical thing. It's called the Casements, and it's because of the kind of windows that are in the building. But there's a big plaque out front that tells you all about it, which I just found, cool. I like little tie-ins like that. But then, of course, we all know, Nixon ran and then had to resign, and Ford took over. And
I am not a crook.
Right. You know why Johnson didn't run, right? Or why he declined to run?
Tell us, Hayden.
Everybody hated him.
The CIA said they'd kill him.
Or he didn't want everybody to hate him.
Well, because, he worked with the CIA to kill Kennedy, and then he pushed farther into Vietnam, and the CIA was like, what?
Allegedly.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Allegedly. And then the CIA were like, hey, stop. And he went, no. And they're like, we'll kill you then.
For those of you who can't see, Hayden is making a very menacing face.
Allegedly.
But I just allegedly. But I still found it just interesting that, given everything that our country just went through and the way things happened, that, I don't know, if someone had taken a 56-year look back, they might have been able to approach things differently, and maybe things wouldn't be so up in the air right now. Okay, enough of my political rant.
Right.
How about you, Jason?
I don't think Gerald Ford ever expected to become president.
No, he did not. But then he did go on to bona fidely win and serve out a term in 76.
Yeah. So let's see. Moving on to me. All right. You get into like a little, again, going back to the, we're different but the same.
Mm-hmm.
So in 91, George H.W. Bush was president. He was elected on the campaign promise that there would be no new taxes. The whole famous read my lips, no new taxes thing. Well, I don't think he actually lived up to that promise. But I think you make those promises meaning it full well, and then you get into the position and realize, like, hey, everything I promised, that's just nonsense. I have no idea what I was talking about.
Right.
You're supposed to surround yourself with people who get the system, but, maybe he didn't do that. I don't know. So he was a one-term president. Bill Clinton won with 370 electoral votes in 92. The most interesting part about that, though, was that Ross Perot was in the race.
Yeah.
And he really, really, really jacked up the electorate. I think he pulled, 14% or something like that?
Yeah, he was the first third-party candidate that ever actually really influenced the outcome of what happened. And it's so funny you say that Clinton won by 370 electorals. I mean, Nixon won by like 1%. Of the popular, like, it's so funny how you can be way over here and then go way over there.
Yeah. So what's funny is, again, different but the same. This is just my personal opinion. I fully suspect that the 2016 election, I think Donald Trump was there to like create foolishness, because he's been friends with the Clintons for years and years and years and years. And I felt like he was there to kind of like be a Ross Perot type of situation. They fully expected Hillary Clinton to be elected, and then she wasn't. And so he's like, wait a minute.
Okay, I'm now president. I will be the greatest president ever. There'll never be a president better than me.
Enter MAGA.
Enter, yeah, craziness.
So you kind of gave away who was president during my birth year
Oops.
because we're only 8 years apart.
That's right.
but
Yeah, it was a
Bill
two-term.
Clinton. Yeah, it was good old Billy Bob.
Billy Bob.
So say what you want to about Clinton, right?
Oh, I will.
Right, I know. Say what you want to about Clinton. I will say this. He did have a balanced budget. You know, he won by just a ridiculous amount of electoral votes. Clearly, there wasn't a lot of inflation, as we've proven with just the few little data points we shared. But I'd take Bill Clinton as president again. I don't care who smokes a cigar. I don't.
That's... you just put that out there forever.
Yeah, well, because, that's what everybody wants to talk about when they talk about him. I don't.
What you need to know about Bill Clinton can be found in Wendigoon's video about the boys on the track.
Okay, so let's move along. When we're talking about different but the same, this next one just blows my mind. Okay. So in 1968, and I don't know why they felt the need to separate this out, there was a national average for this item, and then there was also an average for the South. I don't know. But the median price of a family home, family of 4 people, 1968, $24,700. But in the South, it was only $21,500. And the reason this makes me sick is because you would have to add both of those numbers together to be the dollar amount it took me to make the down payment and cover all the closing costs to get in the house that I currently live in.
Just to get in. Yeah.
Just to get in.
That's stupid.
Yeah.
That's absolutely stupid.
And to be clear, we did not put down 20%. Like, we put down the minimum of what we had to put down. But by the time we had our down payment and our closing costs, yeah.
Ugh.
I could have bought 2 houses in 1968, one out in the regular America and one in the South.
Well, let's remember that minimum wage during that time was like $1.20 or whatever.
Yeah, right.
So a little different.
It's still only $7 and whatever you said earlier.
No, I know. But yeah, the minimum wage has 0% kept up with inflation.
Absolutely. How about you, Jason?
So in 91, the median price of a home was $120,000.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's a huge jump.
It's a huge jump from 68 to 91. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of years.
And how much was it?
Because then if you go from 91 to 99, you only add $9,000 to that.
Yeah.
129.
Which is ultimately nothing.
And so for giggles, the average, and the statistic that I looked at was a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1,700 square foot house, $379,000.
Oh, I saw that the average house in Florida was $400,000.
Oh, I looked national average. I believe you about Florida.
Brother.
Oh, I'm just looking at Florida.
Yeah.
Everything else was based on Florida.
Yeah.
So.
I just looked at, just for giggles, I looked at national average and was like, dang, that's a lot.
That's vomit inducing.
That's insane.
Yeah. I mean,
That's insane. In 25 years, we went from 130 to 400,000.
right. Well, and just, Hayden, you and Cheyenne are trying to put yourselves in a position to buy a home. And every time you think you're right there, you've got the money, your credit's good, you're ready to do it, there's a shift and things just become ridiculously unobtainable, whether it's the housing market that happened recently where everything just became increasingly overpriced, or we have inflation issues that cause the lending rates to go up, and it's just not affordable. And so I'm super interested in all the conversations that the current candidates are having about how they're going to solve that problem. But yeah,
Well, it's all about an opportunity economy.
yeah, there's that. There's that. So on the other end of the scale, now this is something, you figure, I looked at it like this, you figure you need a roof over your head, you need a job, you need a little bit of entertainment, and, gas means you must have a car, right? Beep, beep. When I looked at the average price of a car in 1968, I forgot how many just really, really badass cars there were in 1968, number one. Of course, they were all burning, that super leaded gas, so who cares? But the most popular car in 1968 was, and now it's considered a badass muscle car, was the Pontiac GTO
Which they don't even make anymore.
Right. And its sister car, which this company doesn't even exist anymore, was the Plymouth Roadrunner.
Hell no.
And they cost $2,800.
Oh, God.
$2,800.
Pontiac doesn't exist anymore either.
Well, no, that's true. But Plymouth went out long before.
Yeah.
But I had even forgotten about the Roadrunner. But not to mention, 1968 was the greatest year for the Chevy Camaro. Hands down. Hands down. And I just started thinking, and then Pontiac also had the GTX, which was a badass car. I look at all these cars that were so popular back then, and now they're considered, muscle cars. And if you've got one that's been restored, they can be $60,000, $70,000, $80,000.
You've grossly skipped over an important one.
What?
And I will never forgive you for it.
If you're going to say the Corvette, I just wasn't going to dig into all that.
The Stingray.
Yeah.
Excuse me. From my perspective, I think the most important car from the 60s was the Chevy Impala.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
They have some really good body styles in the 60s.
They do. I mean, cars in the 60s were just dope, right? I mean, they were like metal tanks. You could hit something, bounce off it, just keep going.
Well, that's because it was actually made of metal.
Made of metal. And like when we were kids, there was none of this seatbelt crap, right? I remember.
Nobody needs that garbage.
Right. I remember so my cousin Michelle, who's like a year and a half older, not quite a year and a half, but she's older than me. My grandparents had probably an Impala or something crazy like that. And they had these big, huge rear windows. And so behind the bench seat, the rear window was slanted. There was like this shelf. Okay. And we would get up there and lay on the shelf together and look out the window while my grandmother's driving the car. It was insane.
There's going to be a lot of dogs barking in your background.
Bork.
Okay, I'm going to need audience feedback on this. Let us know what car from the 60s was the best.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
I'm looking at pictures of these like 67, 68 Impalas, and I'm like, that's it.
If it's not the Stingray, you're wrong.
Well, I was just going to say, Hayden, I'm totally with you on the Stingray. I just wasn't going to open that bucket of worms or can of worms, so to speak, because Chevy has taken that car from what was once just an amazing piece of machinery to something that I can't even be bothered to look at anymore. And it just breaks my heart.
The new one they took over to Europe, and it is the fastest production road car under $1 million in the world.
I just don't like the fact that they've made them look like baby Lambos. Like, have your own identity. They were so sleek and so sexy in the 60s and early 70s. And my dad, was a collector and restored. And we had several Stingrays when I was a kid that he rebuilt. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he collected them. But then, you hit the 2000s and they did stupid stuff with them.
I can't even collect DVDs. That's how expensive things are now.
I can't even collect my thoughts most days.
So what about 91?
The most popular car?
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just looking at the AC Cobra.
I thought we were doing the price.
Yeah, I just got the price of the most popular.
So I'm going to do both, right? The most popular car in 1991 was a Honda Accord, selling
I believe that.
almost 400,000 units. The second place was a Ford Taurus. They only sold 100,000. As far as price, I actually ironically priced a Honda Civic, not a Honda Accord. And it was $94.90 MSRP in 91. Funny enough, in 90, they were $10.5. In 92, they were $10.7. So for whatever reason, that 91 is an anomaly. Interestingly enough, they introduced a new body style at 91, I think. You would have thought that the price would have increased. Yeah. Well, no, the Civic.
I mean, the Civic, sorry, yeah. Huh.
So you would think the price would increase with the new body style, but it ironically went down and then went back up the following year.
Everybody just used discount code Jason that year.
Yeah, I guess so.
So I don't know what the most popular car in 99 was, but for a used car, it was about $9,000. And for a family sedan, it averaged around $20,000.
Yeah, there's the jump.
God, look at that. I mean, yeah.
If I had to guess the most popular car, probably a Cavalier. I don't know.
I would stick with the Honda Accord. That's a really,
I think so
or
too.
the Toyota Camry. That sort of body style is really popular.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of Cavaliers in the 2000s, like 90s Cavaliers.
Yeah.
That's the first car my wife ever drove. Was a Chevy Cavalier. It was a hand-me-down from her older brother.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so just a couple of other little things we can blaze through super quickly because I know we all brought like some interesting facts from our year and we don't want to run out of time before we have to do that. Best
The
picture.
lightning round.
Yeah, best picture in 1968, Funny Girl with Barbra Streisand. Song of the year, which is still an awesome song, Hey Jude by the Beatles.
Hey Jude.
So the number one movie in 1991 was Terminator 2 Judgment Day. It grossed almost $205 million. The second place movie was Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, which was only $164 million. So it won by a lot. And then the number one song was Everything I Do, I Do It For You by Bryan Adams.
Got him young.
How about you, Hayden?
99. Winner of Best Picture was Shakespeare in Love.
Ew, I did not like that movie.
And then the number one song the week of my birth, according to Billboard Hot 100, was Smooth by Santana.
That's a good one.
Oh, I like that song. Man.
Featuring Bob Thomas.
Rob Thomas. Cool points if you know what band Rob Thomas is from.
For me,
Mm-hmm.
it's like it's not metal, but like a rock band, right?
And it just went right out of my head. I had it when I said that.
It involves fire.
Matchbox 20.
Yep.
Never heard of it.
Rob Thomas is the lead singer for
never
Matchbox
heard of
20.
Matchbox
What? You're
20?
you are
Don't-
canceled
Hey,
from
don't give me
Monkeys
shit for it.
Unfiltered.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so how about this? Do you know who Falling in Reverse is then?
Yes.
I have heard of them.
Okay.
Okay.
So if I was like, oh, you know Ronnie? You know Ronnie,
oh my
right?
God, Ronnie.
Yeah, that's the little kid that lives down the street, eats boogers.
That's a different Ronnie.
This Ronnie might as well eat his boogers. Who
Oh,
knows?
God.
So the number two song was I Wanna Sex You Up by Color Me
I
Back.
want to sex you up. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so I also issued you guys a challenge to bring like some interesting or unique or some really important historical fact or facts that happened.
Ooh, do I have some?
That happened when you guys in the year that you guys were born. But I do want to toss out there that in 1968 was the introduction of the double-breasted leisure suit made in crushed velour. Like what?
Yeah.
Mini dresses, go-go boots. Oh, and polyester. And if you said, "Aw shucks, boob tube, bread," that's a gas, far out, or bummer, you were hip.
These are some of my favorite things.
So I had, in 1968, I had a couple and I couldn't really decide what I felt like was really the most important. So I'll just toss out one and we'll roundtable till our producer tells us we're out of time. How's that? So in 1968, Bobby Kennedy was assassinated by the pro-Palestinian nationalists while campaigning for the Democratic presidential nomination at the Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles, California. So, like in 1968, when you had a great presidential candidate, you just took them out.
It's just what you did. Ironically, their names had to be Kennedy,
Yeah.
too. So, there's that.
All right, what's your fact?
I had a couple of facts from 1991. The most important fact, according to Google, and I think I would be inclined to agree, is that 91 was the fall of the Soviet Union.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, disbanded December 26th.
Yay!
Ironically enough, though, it's why they Russia still feels like they have a claim on Ukraine and Crimea and all that.
Yeah.
So, also, technically speaking, the Persian Gulf War began in 1990 with Operation Desert Shield, but it was all kind of behind the scenes, whatever. And then the actual war itself took place, I think it was August of 90 or something like that, or January. Anyway, it ended in February of 91. My father was in that war, actually.
Yes, he was. We had some friends that were bombed on the start.
Was it for my birth that he couldn't get back, or was it Matthew?
It was Matthew.
So, fun fact. Do you know one of the leading causes to why the USSR fell?
The Cold War.
Pepsi.
What?
Pepsi.
Yeah?
Because Pepsi brands and Pizza Hut struck a deal with their whatever their leader was called at the time.
Gorbachev?
Not a president, but and it was the first introduction of a capitalist.
Boris Yeltsin.
Yeah, it was the first introduction
Yeah.
of a capitalist company into the country,
Ah.
and it began the downfall
Huh.
of the USSR.
No, you're right. Boris Yeltsin. you're
Okay,
right.
wait. What was your fact about 99, Mr. Brainiac person? Sometimes I feel stupid
well-
when I talk to Hayden.
I have a historical event that everybody freaked out about.
It's
It's
true.
the end of the world.
The end of the
Mhm.
world.
All the computers were going to stop working. Everything was going to go up in flames. We were going to have to live in bunkers underground
That's right.
because of Y2K.
Hmm.
Good times.
Because
Yay.
the computers were not going to be able to roll over the date to read the number 2 in front of the year.
Yeah, because
Yeah, it was
computers are
just
stupid.
inconceivable.
Because
Right.
computers are stupid.
There was a guy who was in a bunker, like he went into the bunker for Y2K and came out in like 2018 or something like that with no
What?
idea.
That's amazing.
Oh, that's crazy.
And it's not even that he came out on his own. Like, I guess it was under a house. Like, he built it under his house and sealed it shut. And then the house went into foreclosure and somebody else bought it after so many years. And they were like, I think someone's living under our house. And they got the police and the SWAT raided the bunker he was in and pulled him out.
I need to see that documentary. Holy crap.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Well, you know what else happened in 1968? This will tell you like the temperature of the world at 1968. Well, at least the United States. Martin Luther King was assassinated in Memphis, Tennessee.
By the CIA.
Yeah, don't have an opinion because we'll take your ass out.
Mm-hmm. Or was it the FBI? It was one of them. I don't know.
Both of them probably.
I mean, who knows? But ironically, you know, that was at the height of race wars and all of that kind of stuff. But also in 1968, Star Trek airs American television's first interracial kiss. You guys know who it was?
Oh gosh, I've heard this before.
A black person and a white person.
Well, yes.
I don't remember actually.
It was on Star Trek. So it was Captain Kirk
And
Lieu-
Uhura.
and Lieutenant Uhura on an episode called Plato's Stepchildren, where they succumb to mind control by these people who have or these aliens that have enslaved them, and they force the two of them to kiss. But I just find it so interesting that the temperament of the country was, you know, there was race wars. They took out MLK for having a different vision. They took out Kennedy for having a different vision. But we're also going to have our first interracial kiss on TV.
Well, but it's interesting that art is the way to bring people together, right? And so like anything is art, like TV, movies, podcasts, actual art, whatever, music, all of it like has power over the culture because it is the culture, right? And so using that actually healed more than it divided.
Yeah, but here we are 56 years later,
Same problems.
still killing over different ideas, color of skin, up in arms because, you know, there's interracial whatever or intercultural. Like we've gone nowhere in 56 years.
New days, old demons, as Pastor Mark Driscoll says.
Yeah. What other kind of facts you got?
So on that topic, Mom, actually, 91 is the year that Rodney King was beat on tape.
That's right.
Started the LA riots.
Wow. That was, ooh, Hayden, you got something a little more lighthearted?
I do, but I'm going to keep it on the grim train.
Oh, okay.
He's like, I like where we're headed.
Because I have one thing that fits in. Weird that this fits in good, but it works. Columbine.
Oof.
Oh, that's
In
right.
99. Yep.
It's the
Yep.
week before my birthday that happened.
Yeah.
What is wrong with the world? You know what we also did in 1968, though? Apollo 8 became the first human spacecraft. The what do you call that? How do they phrase that when a rocket has humans on it?
Manned?
Manned. Thank you. Apollo 8 became the first manned space flight to reach the moon, and Boeing introduced the 747 jumbo jet. So it wasn't all bad.
Do you know Apollo 8's flight path formed the number 8
Number
between
8.
the moon and Earth?
Yeah. Isn't that the one that had to, no, that was 11, that had to do the slingshot to get back?
Are you talking about
Like around the moon?
like after they landed?
Like they got they ran out of, like, their boosters wouldn't come on or something, and they had to use the gravity of the Earth to come home. There was a movie about it. Apollo 13. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm just going to do rapid fire because I've got some cool ones on the list. Chicago Bulls win their first NBA championship in 91.
Nice.
Nirvana releases Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Yes!
The Huntington Library makes the Dead Sea Scrolls available to the public. And the Sierra Madre earthquake shook Los Angeles, causing 2 deaths and $40 million in losses.
I remember that. That's the one where the interstate collapsed, right?
I think so, yeah.
All right, Hayden gets the last word.
So 99, Clinton gets impeached. The euro is introduced in Europe. The Matrix was released. Apple Airport Wi-Fi was introduced to access the internet without plugging in.
Nice.
So it was the first recorded use of Wi-Fi. And Tiger Woods wins his first PGA championship.
Way to go, Tiger.
Yeah.
Way to go, Tiger. Well, tigers, monkeys, mischief.
We got there.
We have arrived at that point in the show where I browbeat you all for not joining us in social media. We're going to hold on. We're going to have a moment or two of silence while you guys all go like and follow us on Facebook so you can be a part of the Monkey Mischief every week. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, every Monday we post the opening of a dad joke. You come and hang out with us on Wednesday and we give you the punchline to that joke. If you visited social media this week, you would have seen, why can't you play poker in the jungle?
Why?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because there's cheetahs in the jungle.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my God.
Oh my god.
Because there's the cheetahs in the jungle.
That's a good
That's
one.
one of my favorites. If you think you have a dad joke that might be appropriate for Monkey Mischief, we would love to hear it. Please visit us at www.monkeysunfiltered.com. Near the bottom of the page, there is a submission form. If you submit your joke and we select to voice it on air, Hayden, what do they get?
A sticker.
That is right. We will send you a one-of-a-kind, everyone should own it, Monkeys Unfiltered sticker.
Sticker.
Yay.
Sticker.
That's German.
I have sticker.
Sticker.
I have sticker.
All right, what does this become?
Okay. I got to wrap this up, reel this in, and bring this madness to an end. I had a ton of fun today. This was uber cool. Maybe we do some sort of spin-off something of this in the future, but thank you guys for indulging me and thank you for being here. And to our listeners, thank you for hanging out. Now you know all kinds of fun things about the years we were born in.
Bruh.
Be sure you have liked and followed us. Subscribe wherever you get your podcast. We drop a new episode every Wednesday, and we would sure hate to think you were missing out.
Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.
Until next time, this is Mama Monkey saying goodbye.
Later, Monkos.
Goodbye.
And we've referenced it already